The room went quiet in a way that felt unnatural, like the air itself had decided to stop moving, because standing on that massive stage under blinding lights was a man holding a Rubik's Cube, and nobody, not the audience, not the judges, not even the cameras, could explain why everyone suddenly felt uneasy, because this wasn't supposed to be shocking, and yet something about it already was, because magic isn't supposed to start with a toy you've seen 1,000 times, and still, the moment he looked directly at Simon Cowell, something changed, as if the show itself realized it was about to lose control. Have you ever watched someone and felt like they were hiding something massive right in front of you? Like the truth was already happening, but you just hadn't caught up yet. That was the feeling in that room, and it's the same feeling millions of people felt at home when Steven Brundage calmly introduced himself on America's Got Talent, smiling politely, almost shyly, like someone who knew a secret but wasn't sure yet if the world deserved to hear it. Because here's the part most people didn't realize in that moment, this wasn't just a magician doing tricks. This was a man who had spent years being underestimated, overlooked, brushed aside as that Rubik's Cube guy, a label that followed him like a shadow and nearly buried him before he ever reached this stage. Steven didn't grow up dreaming of standing under confetti and applause. He grew up obsessed with patterns, speed, and problem solving, the kind of kid who could sit quietly for hours twisting colors into order while the world rushed past him. And while other kids chased attention, Steven chased precision, control, mastery, things you can't fake and things most people don't have the patience to appreciate. But patience doesn't trend. Flash does. Drama does. And for a long time, Steven existed on the outside of that spotlight, performing at small events, posting videos online, trying to convince the internet that a Rubik's Cube could be more than a novelty. You can still find comments from years ago saying things like, "Cool skill, but where's the magic?" And, "This is just memorization," and maybe the most painful one of all, "Seen it before." Imagine hearing that again and again, knowing you're capable of something deeper, something bigger, but never being given the space to show it. So when Steven stepped onto that AGT stage, it wasn't confidence that carried him, it was pressure. Pressure to finally prove that what he does isn't just fast fingers and muscle memory, but something closer to mind reading, to impossible foresight, to that gut punch feeling magic is supposed to leave you with. And if you noticed his hands shaking just a little at the beginning, that wasn't nerves alone. That was the weight of years pressing down in real time. The first layer of what he did felt harmless enough. A Rubik's Cube handed out. Mixed up. Colors scrambled in ways that screamed chaos. The audience leaned back, comfortable, thinking they knew the rules of this game. Even Simon, arms crossed, wearing that look he gets when he's ready to be unimpressed, seemed prepared to sit through another clever but forgettable routine. And let me ask you this, how many times have you personally watched a magic act and thought, okay, but where's the catch? Because that's exactly where everyone was. Then Steven added the second layer. He didn't rush. He slowed everything down. He talked. He made eye contact. He let the silence stretch just long enough to become uncomfortable. That's when the room started leaning forward again. Because magicians who rush are hiding something. Magicians who slow down are daring you to look closer. And just when people thought they understood the structure of the trick, he twisted it. Literally and emotionally. Predictions appeared. Choices mattered. Simon wasn't just watching anymore, he was participating. And that's dangerous territory on AGT, because once a judge is part of the trick, the show can't protect them. If something goes wrong, it goes wrong publicly. This is where social media later exploded, because viewers couldn't agree on what they were seeing. TikTok filled up within minutes of the episode airing, with creators pausing clips, zooming in on Steven's hands, arguing in the comments. Some said it was pure sleight of hand. Others swore it was pre-arranged. Reddit threads grew into massive debates, entire comment chains breaking down Cube algorithms like it was a courtroom trial. Twitter, of course, took sides immediately. One tweet that went viral read, "I don't care how he did it, Simon Cowell just got mentally body slammed on live TV." Another said, "This is why magic still matters. I felt like a kid again." But here's the third layer that most people missed in real time, the emotional gamble Steven was taking. Because the trick wasn't just about the cube. It was about trust. He trusted Simon to follow instructions. He trusted the audience not to interrupt the rhythm. And most of all, He trusted himself not to panic. One mistake, one slip, 1 second of hesitation, and years of work would collapse into an awkward AGT montage moment people would forget by next week. Have you ever been that close to everything you wanted, knowing it could disappear instantly? That's the tension you can actually feel if you rewatch the clip. His breathing changes, his voice lowers, his eyes stay locked. He wasn't performing anymore, he was surviving. Then came the fourth layer, the one that made the judges start shifting in their seats. The Rubik's Cube wasn't just solved. It was solved in a way that matched choices made earlier, choices that weren't supposed to connect. This is where the audience started gasping instead of clapping, because applause is polite, but gasps are honest. And when Simon's expression changed, from skepticism to confusion to something dangerously close to awe, that's when the internet collectively leaned in. And this is where I need to ask you something directly. Have you ever watched Simon Cowell genuinely lose control of the moment? Not annoyed, not sarcastic, not unimpressed, but actually stunned, because that's rare, that's gold, that's the moment every AGT contestant dreams of, and almost nobody achieves. But Steven wasn't done yet. He saved the final layer for last, and this is where everything flipped. Because the last reveal didn't just confirm the trick, it rewrote the entire performance. Suddenly, the Rubik's Cube wasn't the star anymore. The prediction was. The timing was. The fact that Simon's free will had been quietly guided without him realizing it. When the final alignment was revealed, you can hear the audience react before Simon even speaks, like a wave crashing before thunder. And then Simon laughed. Not the polite laugh, not the dismissive one, the real laugh, the kind that says, "Okay, you got me." And in that instant, Steven Brundage crossed an invisible line. He wasn't a novelty act anymore. He wasn't the cube guy. He was a magician who had just outplayed one of the toughest judges on television. Social media didn't calm down after that, it got louder. TikTok edits slowed the moment Simon realized what happened, adding dramatic music, millions of views stacking up overnight. Reddit threads shifted from skepticism to reluctant respect. One highly upvoted comment read, "I wanted to hate this. I tried to hate this. I can't." Twitter polls asked whether this was one of the smartest magic acts in AGT history, and the answers leaned heavily toward yes. But here's the part that truly broke the internet. Steven later admitted in interviews that this was the most pressure he'd ever felt in his life. Not because of the cameras, but because of the years behind him. Years of being told he needed something flashier. Years of being overlooked for not fitting the mold. He didn't walk onto that stage to impress Simon Cowell. He walked onto that stage to finally silence the voice that told him he wasn't enough. And that's why this moment matters beyond the trick itself. Because it's not really about magic. It's about patience paying off when almost nobody is watching. It's about trusting your craft when the world tells you it's too small. It's about standing in front of a man known for crushing dreams and making him smile like a kid who just lost a bet. So let me ask you, did you see a magic trick, or did you see a quiet underdog finally flip the script? And if moments like this are why you watch talent shows in the first place, the kind that sneak up on you and stay in your head long after the credits roll, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are turned on, because these are the stories we live for here. Because Steven Brundage didn't just solve a Rubik's Cube that night. He solved the problem of being underestimated. And that's a kind of magic no algorithm can explain.